go over to Steve in Novi first. And Steve is talking about canceling a purchase agreement. So his question to you, David, is how do I cancel a purchase agreement? I was not financing the house. I had put down on the agreement that I was buying the property as a cash sale. I was using the money from the sale of my other home to purchase this property. I was let go in April because of the pandemic. Can I back out of the deal? So real quick for our viewers, if you're watching this in the future, we just have to reference that the pandemic that he's referring to is the coronavirus crisis that we are just now coming out of, I guess, COVID-19.
Right.
And, this is an issue that a lot of people are facing right now, job loss due to the pandemic. So what can we tell Steve, who's in this predicament?
Right. Well, even if there weren't a pandemic, just based on his question, I would, of course, and you always hear me say this, I have to see the legal documents. So I got to see the purchase agreement. I have to see the paperwork that he engaged with his realtors, if he had one. But even if there's no pandemic, he said something that was really important. He said he's buying the property cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cash. So if he's buying it cash, he says he lost his job. That's not going to, if there's no financing contingency, then what's the difference? He says he's getting his money to buy the home, this new home, from the sale of an old home. And if that's the case, the fact that he lost his job, that's not going to do anything for him. And again, I'm speculating because I'd have to see everything, but from what I'm hearing, you can use a mortgage contingency clause. That's what most people buy their homes, not with cash, with financing. They don't have all the cash to purchase a home. So cash sales have no contingency as it relates to financing. Contingencies in general, just a regular contingency could be, subject to me selling my home, subject to me getting financing, subject to me, subject to the home appraising properly, like at the price that I'm offering. There's all these different contingencies that a good attorney, some good realtors can put into a purchase agreement to allow that transaction either to go forward or not to go forward. Okay? So here's the thing. His question is alluding to the fact that he lost his job. He would have never put that in there. I'm not trying to read too much into it, but he would have never put it in there if he didn't think it was important. So based on what he's saying, hey, I lost my job. I can't afford the home. No, based on what I'm hearing is you can buy that home cash. And if you don't have a mortgage contingency clause, because you don't need a mortgage, we have to look at the purchase agreement to see how else you can get out of the contract. So there might be other contingencies.
Yeah.
Okay. But the financing issue is not going to be one, and the fact that he lost his job is not going to have any bearing on this. So it begs a little bit more questioning, but in general, if those people who are watching, when you sign a purchase offer, whether it's one with a realtor or one that you've created on your own, which is probably not the best way to approach something unless you're highly experienced, they're contracts and they work like a contract. They have legal obligations, and unfortunately, a lot of people, they sign first and then they call us later. So I know you know this, Blair, because I have hashtags on all my LinkedIn and I don't do that much Instagram, but Facebook, and all our paperwork. One of the taglines that we put all the time is call before you sign. Yeah. It's much cheaper when you call us before you sign, getting people out of nasty transactions. They're not always nasty, but getting people out of a deal that they're legally obligated on can become a nasty endeavor between the parties. Yep. So I don't want this gentleman from Novi, yep, to feel badly, because here's the thing. Just last week, we had a very seasoned professional in the real estate community who wrote up a purchase offer with 2 different contingencies within the offer. And they competed with each other. And when one of the conditions didn't come through, we don't know how to enforce the other one. So this person, who's a very fine agent, did this on her own and has created a problem for her sellers. She didn't do it intentionally. We see this happen quite often, but they're contracts. Purchase offers are contracts. Go, if you're going to be spending 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, a million, 50,000, doesn't matter. Do you know how much a real estate attorney charges to review a purchase agreement? Under $1,000.
Tiny percentage.
It depends on how many hours, but on average, you know, I can't speak for most, and I'd hate to pin myself down, but most purchase offers, if they're relatively straightforward and they don't require a lot of negotiation, you know, you can get out of there with maybe 2 to 3 hours worth of legal work. Then you know it's done right. So that's enough said. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on. You know me, I like to go on.
No, that's good, because that's a thing that people assume is subject to the financing, but you didn't require any financing. And then just looking at his question, you know, he says, I was using the money from the sale of my other home to purchase the property. Steve, have you already sold your other home? Do you already have that cash in hand? Or now it's subject to the sale of the house that you are still trying to
So that's why you have to, Blair, you have to move, you know, you have to really delve into these deals and see what, you know, how to pick it apart and how to get out of it. I call it wiggling out, how to wiggle out of it.
Well, Steve, get your documents over to David so he can take a deeper look into what you've got going on and see if you find any wiggle room there.
Great.
Great.